Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your well-rounded math teacher, Mr. Bakar. And we're working on Unit 7, Video 3, Dividing Polynomials. The main thing we're going to be working with, and your learning target is to be able to divide polynomials by other polynomials using synthetic division. Okay. But before we get to dividing by another polynomial, we're going to divide by a monomial. In other words, a polynomial divided by a monomial, which is one term. Like this is one term right here. We're going to divide by 4x. Not 4x plus 1, but just 4x. And how do you do that? Right here. Divide each term in the polynomial, okay, right up here, by the monomial. So 4x plus 3, 8x, and negative 12x squared. We're going to divide each one of those by 4x. How do you do that? Well, we're going to rewrite it as 4x cubed plus 8x. Actually, we're going to rewrite it like this. First, we're going to divide 4x cubed by 4x, the monomial, plus 8x divided by 4x minus 12x squared divided by 4x. This is a general trinomial. There's three terms here, so you're going to create three fractions and then simplify each one of those fractions, just like we've done in the past two sections, 7.1 and 7.2. Okay, the 4's cancel out here. Where do I have more x's? Well, I have an x cubed on top and an x to the first and the bottom. There's two more x's in the numerator, so that's just x squared. 4 goes into 4 once, it goes into 8 twice. Here x's cancel out. So I'm left with 2 over 1, or just 2. 4 goes into 4 once, it goes into 12 3 times. Where do I have more x's? Okay, I have 2 x's in the numerator, only 1 in the denominator, so I have 1 more in the numerator. So that becomes minus 3x. And there is my simplified answer. Dividing a polynomial by a monomial. Okay, let's do a couple more of these. What do we got? We're going to do number 2 now. This one doesn't simplify as nicely, but it does work out. Anyway, once again, I have 3 terms in my polynomial. I'm divided by 1 term, my monomial. So I'm going to create 3 individual fractions then. 16a to the 5th, b to the 3rd, over what we're dividing by, 8, a to the 4th, b cubed. 8a cubed, b to the 4th, all over, oops, 12a cubed, b to the 4th, all over the 8, a to the 4th, b cubed. And then finally minus 20a, b to the 5th, all over your monomial, 8a to the 4th, b cubed. Okay, so we got a little bit more going on here. Just take each fraction one at a time. This is going to become a new fraction. 8 goes into 8 once, it goes into 16 twice. So I'm going to have a 2 up here. Where do I have more a's? I have more a's on top, 1 more a, so that's an a to the 1st. B cubed and b cubed, they cancel each other out. So 2a all over 1 in this case, plus here, 4 goes into 8 twice and it goes into 12 3 times. So I have 3 over 2 to begin with. It looks like I have more a's in the denominator here, 1 more, so I'm going to make that 2a. And more b's. I have a b to the 4th over b cubed, so I have another b in the numerator. So 3b all over 2a minus, 4 goes in there twice, 4 goes in there 5 times. So 5 over 2. For the coefficients, a to the 1st on top, a to the 4th down here, so I have a to the 3rd, I have 3 more in the denominator. And b's, I have a b to the 5th over b cubed, I have 2 more b's in the numerator, so that becomes a b squared. You can clean up your answer a little bit if you want, like 2a divided by 1 is just 2a, plus 3b over 2a, you can leave your answer as a fraction. Sometimes you have to, 5b squared all over 2a cubed. And this is your simplified answer. So I'm going to have you guys try one. Let's have you guys try number 3. So go ahead and hit pause and you try it. When you unpause, I'll have the answer up. So hit pause. Okay, I'm assuming you unpaused it. I got 3xy minus 5 plus 4y. Now, if you didn't get that, that's fine. You can ask me questions tomorrow in class. But we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to 2 ways to divide polynomials by a binomial. We're dividing by a binomial. That's 2 terms now. We're dividing, this is a little division symbol, we're dividing by z minus 4. That is 2 terms, that's why they're calling it a binomial. There's a couple different ways to do this. There's long division, right here, and there's synthetic division. I really want you to learn how to do synthetic division because it goes a lot quicker once you get used to it. But I'm going to show you long division first. Now long division is just that, what you guys are used to back in the day. Something like 843 divided by, we'll say 19. We're going to set this problem up right here the same way that we set this problem up using long division. So, let's give ourselves a little room. You put 843 in the box, and we're dividing it by 19. Okay, and over here, we're dividing the z squared plus 2z minus 24. Put a little line through my z so I know it's not 2 minus 24. We're going to put that in the box also, and we're going to divide that by z minus 4. Okay, over here. You look usually at 19 and how many times it goes into 84. Well, 84 is pretty close to 80, 19 is pretty close to 20. I'd say it's pretty close to 4 times. Here, it's a little bit different. You look at your first term that you're dividing by, which is z minus 4, and the first term here, which is z squared, and you ask yourself, well, what do I multiply by this z to get z squared? And that is z. Okay? That's kind of how we come up with that. So, over here we'd multiply 4 times 19. Well, 4 times 9 is 36. And 4 times 1 is 4 plus the 3 is 7. So it's 76. And then we subtract that 76. What do we end up? 8. Okay? Here's what this one looks like. Take your z up here that we haven't read and actually multiply it by z minus 4. You can kind of set it up like I did here and use the distributive property, or you can just say z times z is z squared, and z times negative 4 is negative 4z. You only have 2 terms here, so you're only going to have 2 terms over here when you're done. Now, just moving this for a little bit here. We subtracted, so we're going to subtract the z squared minus 4. And to do that, I just run a negative through it. That becomes negative z squared and a positive 4z. When you add these 2 up, these 2 cancel out. And 2z and 4z, right there, is equal to 6z. What do we do next? Over here, you'd bring the 3 down and get 83. Here you do the same thing. Bring down the negative 24. Okay? And then you kind of start all over again. Well, what do I multiply by 19 to get this 83 down here? I think 4 will work again. 4 times 19 we know is 76. We subtract once again, and we get 7. This is our remainder. Okay, remainder. Over here, well, once again, z. What would I multiply this first term z by to get this first term right here? 6z. Well, it's going to be 6. 6 times z is 6z. And you kind of do the same thing over again. Multiply. Now we're multiplying by 6, just 6. So it's like this. So it'd look like 6 times z minus 4. And you'd get 6z negative 24. Or if you just take this 6 times this z, 6z, and then this 6 times the negative 4, that's negative 24. These 2 numbers are exactly the same, are 2 binomials. The key is we're subtracting. So I'm going to run a negative through this red part. Negative 6z plus 24. So when I add them together, they both cancel out. And I get a remainder of 0 again. So my answer, my quotient is 6 plus z. And that's long division. Okay? Kind of like this long division problem over here. I'll show you synthetic division now, which I think is a little bit easier. Okay? So first of all, you take what we're dividing by, the z minus 4, and set it equal to 0, and then solve. Well, I would add 4 to both sides, and I get z equals 4. Now what do we do with this 4? That little 4 we're going to put in a box like this. And then we're going to look at the z squared plus 2z minus 24, and we're going to take all the coefficients, the numbers in front. Well, the number in front of z squared is 1, in front of 2z is 2, and negative 24 is just negative 24. Skip a space and draw a line. Okay, now here's how synthetic division works. It's kind of streamlined here. Yeah, the first number you always bring down, 1. And then you take this number in the box and multiply it by that 1. 1 times 4 is 4. That goes under the next number, 2. So we add those two together. That is 6. I'm going to multiply it by this number in the box again. 4 times 6, right here, is 24. I'm going to add those two together, and that's 0. And the last one, you always put a box around because that's your remainder. Once again, well, it should be, we're doing the same problem. Our remainder over here was 0, so our remainder over here is also 0. This is our answer, but how do we write our answer? Look at what you're dividing into, which is z squared plus 2z minus 24. The key is the power. The leading term here is z squared. It has the highest power 2. Your answer is always going to have 1 degree less, or 1 power less. So this is 1 z, and then you just go by decreasing order there. Z to the first, then no z would be plus 6. So it's 1z plus 6, or z plus 6, same thing. Which is the same thing we got over here. This is our answer, or our quotient. Whenever you divide something, the answer is a quotient. Okay, so let's do some more long division here. Number 4, using long division, practicing a little bit. Now, the key is this, before you get started, you got to look at what you're dividing into. Its first term is 2x cubed. The next term should be an x squared, but it's not. It's x to the 6th. It has to be in degree of decreasing order. In other words, if this is 3, then my next power has to be 2, 1, and then just a constant like the 152. So this is actually 2x cubed plus, well, if there's no x squared term there, you just put 0x squared plus 6x plus 152. This whole thing is divided by x plus 4. Okay? So now it's set up so I can actually do the problem. And we are going to do it. We're dividing by a binomial here, this x plus 4. Set it equal to 0. And then solve for x. You would subtract x, or 4 from both sides. X equals negative 4. Okay, that negative 4 is the starting point. We put that little negative 4 in this box over here. And then we list all our coefficients, numbers in front of our x terms, and our constant in order. Degree of decreasing order. There was no x squared term here, so I had to put a 0x squared in here. So we got 2, 0, 6, and 152. Skip a space and start working your problem. First things first, you always just bring that first number down, 2. You don't multiply by the negative 4 and put negative 8 down here where I have the 2. Now you take your negative 4 and multiply it by this 2, and that's negative 8. And that's just is the next number that you're going to add to the next coefficient. 0 plus negative 8 is negative 8. Negative 4 times negative 8 is positive 32. Once again, we add. The 6 and the 32 is 38. Negative 4, you're always multiplying by this number except for the first one. Negative 4 times 38 is, I did do this problem, negative 152. Which is nice because when I add those two together, the last two, it's the constant, the number, we get 0. So that means X minus 4 divides into our polynomial evenly. Once again, this is my remainder. Okay? And these three numbers right here represent my answer, or my quotient. Now remember, we divided into a number, it was 2x cubed, so my power is 3. So the power of my quotient, or my answer, is going to be one less than that, which is 2. So it's 2x squared minus, and then go degree of decreasing order, 8x. So we got 2, 1, and then just plus 38. There we go. It divides in there evenly. Very nicely. Okay, so this is synthetic division. I think it's a little bit quicker than long division, but if you like long division, by all means, you can do long division. I'll tight here a little bit. Just gotta warm this projector up again. Oops, I'll bring him down there. I'll do number 5. Go ahead and try number 5. There we go. Back in business here. Anyway, number 5. This one's a little bit different, a little bit more technical, and here's why. Okay. First of all, see if it's in order up here, degree of decreasing order. I got x cubed, x squared, x to the first, and then no x. So it's in order. That's good. I don't have to add anything in there. So I can start working with the 2x minus 3, set that equals 0, and solve. Now it's 2x. There's a number in front of our x term that when we're dividing by that 2x minus 3, we have to add a little step. Well, first of all, we're going to add 3 to both sides. 2x equals 3. When we divide, and we are dividing here by 2, I get x equals 3 halves. As soon as you divide both sides by something, you're going to do something with that 2. You're going to divide again in a little bit here. But setting it up, I'm going to put 3 halves in this box here. And you should be able to work with fractions. If not, plug it into your calculator. But we're going to work with fractions here. 2, 5, list them all in order. 2, 5, negative 2, and negative 15. Skip a space. Okay? And the first time we just bring that number down, and that is 2. Okay, 2 times 3 halves. You should be able to do this in your head. 3 halves times 2 is just 2 over 1. So this is 6 over 2, or 3. So we'll bring a 3 over here. 3 plus 5 is 8. You're always adding there, not subtracting. 3 halves times 8 over 1. That's 24 over 2, or 12. Adding the negative 2 and the 12, I get 10. 10 times 3 halves, that's 10 over 1. You should be able to do that in your head. Hit the little extend button there. Sorry about that. Okay. That's 30 over 2, or 15, and look at that. We add these last two together here and get 0. That's my remainder. So, once again, 2x minus 3 divides into this polynomial evenly. What's my answer? Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. Okay? There's a lot of different ways to do it. This is the way I do it because I think it works the best. As soon as you have to divide by something, we divided by 2. You have to divide your answer right here by 2. 2, 8, and 10. But you do not divide the remainder. You don't divide the remainder. That's the key. You don't divide the remainder. Only your quotient or your answers. So what my actual answer is this. Once again, we started with the 2x cubed, our polynomial that we're dividing into. So this answer is going to be 1 degree less. So instead of x cubed, it's going to be x squared. 2 divided by 2 right here is 1, 1x squared. 4 divided by 2, sorry, 8 divided by 2 is 4, so that's plus 4x. And 5 divided by 10 divided by 2 is 5. There's my quotient. There's my answer. 2x minus 3 divides into this polynomial evenly, and the answer is x squared plus 4x plus 5. So as soon as you're dividing by something that isn't just x, it's 2x minus 3. To get this number that we're going to put in this box over here for long division, we had to divide by 2. So that means we have to divide our answer by 2 in order to get our actual answer here. Okay? So that was number 5. Let's flip it over. Check out number 6. Okay, I'm going to let you guys try and set up number 6. Just hit pause, you try it yourself, and then unpause it, and I'll show you the problem. So hit pause. Okay, you've done this problem hopefully already. 2x minus 3 equals 0. So we're going to solve that. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, so I get 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. And x equals 3/2. Now remember, we had to divide by 2 here. So when we get to our answer, we're going to have to divide our answer by 2. Not the remainder, but just the answer. So 3/2 in our little box here. Oh, I didn't even check this. 4x to the 4th plus 0x cubed. There's no x cubed term here. Minus 17x squared plus 14x minus 3. So now I can go ahead and plug in those numbers. It's now in degree of decreasing order. 4, 0, negative 17, 14, negative 3. Skip a space, and let's get started. I'm going to bring down that 4 first. Remember, it's 3/2 times 4 over 1. 12 over 2 is 6. Adding 6 and 0 together, we get 6. 3/2 times 6 over 1, that's 18 over 2, or 9. Negative 17 and 9 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 3/2 times negative 8 over 1, that's negative 24 over 2, that's negative 12. 14 plus negative 12 is positive 2. 2 times 3/2 is just 3. And once again, when I add these two together, I get 0. So it divides in there evenly. Now, not all of them are going to divide evenly. I'll show you an example. So this is my remainder right here. That tells me that 2x minus 3 divides in here evenly. Let's go ahead and write our answer. Now remember, we had to divide by 2 here to solve for x. So we have to divide this answer by 2, not the remainder. We never divide the remainder by whatever we're dividing by. But real quickly, we divide it. We're dividing it at 4x to the 4th. My degree or power right here is 4. So the degree of this first term is going to be 1 less than that 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2x cubed plus 6 divided by 2 is 3x squared minus 4x, and then finally plus 1. There's your quotient. This is your answer right here, your quotient. And we're off to number 7. There it is. Once again, I'll check for degree of decreasing order. We got x cubed, x squared, x to the 1st, and then degree of 0. So 3, 2, 1, and 0. So it's in degree of decreasing order. I see a 3x there, so I know that when I finally get my answer, I'm going to have to divide all those numbers by 3, not the remainder though. So 3x plus 1 equals 0, so you can figure out what we're going to plug into the box here. It's going to be a fraction. Subtracting 1, 3x equals negative 1. Dividing by 3, x equals negative 1/3. Okay. negative 1/3. And then list your coefficients, the 6, the 5, the negative 2, and this last number is just your constant 1. If there is no constant, you have to put a 0 there, just as a space holder, kind of. Skip a space and we'll get started. Okay, so bring down the 6. Always bring that first number down. Times negative 1/3, that's just going to give me negative 2. Add those together, I get 3. Negative 1/3 times 3 is negative 1. Use your fractions if you're not sure. Negative 1/3 times 3, that's 3 over 1. So that's negative 3 over positive 3. Still going to be negative 1. Add these two together, I get negative 3. Negative 1/3 times negative 3 is positive 1. Now I add these two up. Some people cancel them out, but you're adding here. This is 2. We do have a remainder. Our remainder is 2. Which is kind of nice because we learn how to work with remainders then. We divided by 3 over here, so I have to divide each part of my answer by 3. Not the remainder. The remainder stays 2. Okay, we don't touch that. Let's start out with x cubed, so my answer is going to be first term is going to be an x squared. 6 divided by 3 is 2, so that's 2x squared. Plus 1x minus 1. Okay, what do we do with this remainder, this 2? It's positive, so I'm going to add it. And it's just 2 all over, what are we dividing by? Well, we're dividing by 3x plus 1. So I'm just going to put a 3x plus 1 here. If you have a remainder, that's what you do. Now, I know this doesn't divide in there evenly, but this would be my answer right here. And we're done. That's what you do when you have a remainder other than 0. Okay. Here's a word problem. The area of a rectangle is, this is the area right here, 3x squared minus 19x plus 20 square feet. The length of the rectangle is 3x minus 4 feet. What is the width? Now our answer isn't going to be like 5 or 7 or something like that. It's going to be an expression, kind of like we have 3x minus 4 over here. Whenever you have a problem like this, write down the formula. Area of a rectangle. Area equals length times width. Especially if you're working with like area or perimeter of a triangle where it's a little bit different. And then plug in what you know. I know my area. 3x squared minus 19x plus 20 equals, I know my length. My length is 3x minus 4. And I don't know my width. We're going to find the width. Well, how would you find the width? Well, you'd have to get rid of 3x minus 4. So you're going to divide both sides by 3x minus 4. These cancel out. And my width's going to equal whatever the answer to this division problem is. Now, it's written a little bit differently. Some people think, oh, I got to divide everything by 3x minus 4. No. You're going to set this up just like you're dividing by two terms. It's a binomial here. So you're going to set that 3x minus 4 equal to 0 and solve, because we're just going to use synthetic division again. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides and get 3x equals 4. Divide both sides by 3. 4/3 is what I'm plugging in here. It's x squared, x, and a constant, so it's 2 first power, 0 power. We're good to go. So it's 3, negative 19. Let's see if I can move this over here a little bit. Yeah. And positive 20. I don't need to put plus 20. We'll just put 20. Skip a space. First things first, always. Bring down that first number. 3. Okay, 4/3 times 3 over 1. I get 12 over 3, or just 4. Negative 19 and 4, negative 15. Okay. 4/3 times negative 15 over 1. That's negative 60 over 3, or negative 20, which is nice. When I add these two up, I get 0. It divides in there evenly. There's no remainder. So we divided by 3 over here. So we got to take our answer and also divide that by 3, not the remainder. Don't divide the remainder by 3. Anyway, we were dividing into an x squared term. So this is 1x to the first power minus 5. This is my answer. It's also my width in this case. So the length is 3x minus 4, and the width is x minus 5. And there we go. Peace out, Girl Scout. Get busy on your worksheet. Get ready for a quiz.